Well, you've just got yourself some new tubular rims. You might have picked them up on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or some other secondhand application, or you might just have a friend that wanted to get rid of their tubular rims and you got these rims cheap and you've ordered yourself some tubular tires and you want to give them a go. And the reason why you're doing this is because you go, what's the mystique about these tubular tires? And also rims, tubular rims, so forth, can be picked up pretty bargain basement prices because people don't know what to do with them. They think they're a hassle. They think you've got to play with glue and they sell them off cheap. Now, if you want to play with glue, you can. I like to use tape. Tape is incredibly easy. I believe it's easier than putting on a tubeless tire, and especially if you've got an insert, it's definitely easier than that. So let's roll an intro and let's have a look at what is it like living with tubulars and what happens like you're out there on the road and you get a puncture. Well, tubular rims, not the real cheap ones, but the ones that you pay reasonable money for, and there's a number of brands that make these tubular tires. Victoria and Veloflex I like the best, but there's Tufo and there's Continental Competitions. Those ones are very hard to get on the rim, so be aware of that if you're going to buy those. And also there's a number of other brands around that sell these tubular tires. And the more expensive ones, the good ones, come with a removable valve. Now, a removable valve is it comes with, you can get a little key, a little plastic key, and you can remove the valve. So it's just a stem, it's quite a big hole. Now, if you have these on your bike, and I would advise you to buy these because they're generally the better tubulars. The cheap tubulars, they don't have that, and they ride pretty awful. So if you're going to run tubulars, make sure you get the good ones. And if you're out riding and you get a flat, what you can do is you can take this valve out and you can have like a little tube of stands or any other type of sealant that you like to use, and you only need to have a little bottle, 30 or 60 mils with you, and then you can take that valve out, you can put the sealant in, you put it back in, and then what you do is you start to put a bit of air in, you spin it a little bit, and what's happening is the sealant will seal the puncture just like it does with a tubeless tire. And you can also use this method on clinchers where you've got tube tires, and it works most of the time, especially if it's something like a fawn or something like that that's giving you a flat. The sealant works very, very well. So sealant will work in a tubeless tire, a tube tire, and also a tubular. So that's what I would say of my first line of defense is if I had a flat, whack some sealant in it, spin the wheel, put a bit of air in it, and boom, if that seals it, on your bike and off you go. So you haven't even had to take anything off the rim. It's even easier than changing a tube and a clincher tire. Then, of course, people go, well, what happens if the puncture's more severe? You've got a cut, the tire's partially cut, or the hole's bigger, or it's something like a screw's gone in, like a tech screw, or a nail, and the hole's quite big, and you go, hang on, the sealant's not working, what can you do? Well, your second line of defense is just take some glueless patches and a little tube of super glue. And what you do is you stick that little patch on the outside of the tubular tire, and then you've got the sealant in there. And because now you've put that patch over, it helps the sealant seal, and then that can seal and that can get you home. Whether that will be good for continuous use may be questionable, but it will get you going and will get you home. So it's like a patch-up job. You put the patch on the outside of the tire like this. You get the tire and you just stick the patch on with the super glue, and you might have to put a bit more sealant in, and same thing, you spin it, you punch it up, and normally that seals it. So what happens if that doesn't work either and you're stuck and you can't do anything? Well, there is one last option. What you can do is you can carry another tubular tire. Now you can buy actually very light ones. I think Tufo make one that's super duper light. It's like 180 grams or something if you don't want to carry much weight. But I just carry a normal Veloflex one. You can buy ones there that are quite light. The thinner ones are a little bit light and easier to fold. Now what you can do is you can actually fold these tubular tyres up quite small, and you can fold them up to a size where you can fit them in the back of your jersey pocket. So they're very convenient. So if you want to, and you're riding somewhere where this happens very, very rarely. You can't fix your puncture out in the field with a bit of sealant or the patch. This is for an extreme case where you got a really big hole. Then you can actually take one of these tubular tyres with you, and you can fold them up, and I'm going to show you how you can do that because there's a special way of folding them. Now the first thing you do is you need to remove all of the air from the tyre. So let's get this valve out. Take this valve out. Let's remove that. Get that out. And what I do is I just like to roll it from the other end. So we get it here, get it at the other end, and we basically just roll it up like a snail. So we get this done here. Roll it up, basically just pushing the air out of the tyre to make it easier to fold up. So you can spend your time and you can make sure you get every little bit of air out if you want to. I'm just doing it quick here and just rolling it up. So you roll it up until all of the air comes out of the tyre, because then that makes it easier to fold when you fold it up. So we're almost at the valve here, and we can see there's some kind of dust in there. It's probably from the latex tube. So we get all that out there, and then we get this little valve again here, and then we pop it back in and screw it up, so then we don't allow any more air to get back into the tyre. Okay, and you'll see when I roll this out, it'll stay nice and flat. So let's just get that tightened up with a little valve key. Almost there. Yep, she's tight. Tighten the little pester valve down. And then when we undo it, it stays nice and flat. You can see it's nice and flat. Okay, so let's just move this valve out of the way. And this little lacquey, because you need a lacquey to get some sort of lacquey bands or lacqueys, hair lacqueys or something like that. So now we've got it nice and flat. We go back to the valve, and then we bring the other end to the valve. Okay, I think we can see that there. And then what we do is we adjust the length so the tyre sits nicely on top of the other tyre. So if it was glued, you'd stick one end to the other like this. Okay, so that would sit on there, and this bit would sit on here, and it will stay like that when I get it nice and neat. Actually, there's still a bit of air in this. It hasn't got all the air out. So I haven't done a very good job there getting the air out. But we'll continue. You can, if you take care and you make sure you get out every bit of air, this works a lot easier. And once you've got that nice and flat, here, then you fold it in thirds. So you go to not half, but you go to a third, and you need to allow for the fold. So you go one like this, and then you go another one like that. And then what you do is you put some lacquey band around it. This one's not very tight, but you would double it over, and when you put like 3 lacquey bands around it nice and tight and all of the air's out of it, this one, as you can see, still too much air in it. But when you take all of the air out, you can get it nice and flat. And even this at the moment, even though I haven't got much air out, you can still fit this into your jersey pocket. And you can also fit them into those tool containers that you put in your drink bottles. You might need to trim the top of them. Sometimes they have a little curl bit that fits in, so it makes it difficult to get the tyre out once you've got it in. So just trim that away, and then you go. Then you can have your tyre in a little drink container. Now, as you can see here, I've got a tools and tubes container, and you can see inside there I've got myself a tubular tyre. So you can get them in there if you get all the air out nice and neat. And I've just put like a little cable tie on there so I can pull it out easy, because they fit tight, but it keeps them nice and neat and tidy. So you can either fit it in your jersey pocket, or you can fit it in one of these, and your tyre's kept dry and clean and ready to use whenever you want to use it. Now, in conclusion, what we can do here is we've got 3 levels of fixing our tubular. First of all, if we don't want to carry much, we can just take sealant and some glueless patches, and that'll fix 90% of your punctures. But if you're really insecure, and I'm a bit like that, but I've never ever had to use, I think once in the last, I don't know, 10 years, I've had to actually take a tubular tire off a rim. So it's very, very rare, but you could probably get away with not carrying an extra tire and just carrying some sealant and some glueless patches, and that'll fix 90% of your punctures. And the one time you get stuck, you might have to like ring a friend or ring a Uber or a taxi or something like that to get you home. So this is really kind of like the last resort. And if you feel that you want that security, then you can fold that tubular tire up, and then you can pull it out, and you can take it off the rim, and you can also then you can just put it on the rim. Now, some people like to actually paint glue on the tire, right? So they where this is, they put the glue on before they fold it, and because the way the tire is folded, the glue goes to the glue. So you can do that, and what that will allow you to do is give you some tackiness to stick it on the rim. And if there's glue, if you've glued the tire on before, when you pull it off, should stick and you'll get some sort of adhesion. But you can either take some tape as well, that's the other option. But really, if you just want to ride home and you just want to put it on quickly, you just need to rock the tire like this, break the one that's on, and then once you've got it over the edge of the rim, you just pull it and it pulls off. Pulls off like this very, very easily and very quickly. And then you can just stretch the other one back on, pump it up. You don't need to stick it on or anything, as long as you're not going to go hammering around corners and push the limits. If you're just riding normal, it won't come off the rim. It'll be fine. You can ride home. And then you can worry about fitting it on the rim properly when you get home if you want to use the glue or whatever. So anyway, guys, that's how you deal with a tubular out in the field. The myth you need to have a team car following you is exactly that. It's a myth. And years ago, when they didn't have team cars, the actual pros used to actually stretch them around them, and they used to wear them on their body and ride, or fold them up like I've shown you and stick them on the back of the seat and strap them on with a shoe or what, how should I say, a cleat leather buckle that used to be on the old cleats before they had clip-in cleats, and they used to bolt them on and fit them under the seat. So this whole myth about, oh yeah, you can't run tubulars because they're so much riskier and how you're supposed to fix a puncture and all that is just complete, utter rubbish. The people used to ride with these all the time, and even today you can ride with them all the time, and we've got sealant, and sealant, as I said, fixes most of the punctures. Well, anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it, and remember to smash that like button, because it's really good for the YouTube algorithm, and all us creators have to live off the algorithm because YouTube's in control of that. And we just like to make a little bit money back for our time that we put into these videos. So please do that for us. And if you're a Ninja watcher and you're not subscribed, just subscribe down below, because that'd be really appreciated. And then we can take that Ninja badge off you. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it, and I'll see you next vid. Cheers.
Mm-hmm.